Hi everyone, it's Raina. So this video is 7 awesome things about Libra. So I'm working my way through the air signs, and Libra is a cardinal air sign. And when I'm talking about Libra, I'm not just referring to the sun sign. If you have a moon in Libra, Libra rising, or even some of the inner planets, you might have these attributes as well. However, they may get displayed in a different area. For instance, with Libra rising, there may be that kind of physical appearance that describes the well-polished Libra person, or your mannerisms may be very much like elegant and things associated with that. But then that core personality takes over. So there might be just like that influence in terms of the exterior. Okay, number 1, gracious, polite, agreeable. And I could, I'm sometimes these things overlap, so I just wanted to, I don't want to get into how they're overlapping just yet, but when I say gracious, I mean understanding etiquette, understanding how to show your appreciation to others. That's what being polite is that you're refined, you know, you have those social graces that where other people are rough around the edges and they kind of give off this vibe of not being too polished. That's not true of Libra, and I could imagine a Libran individual even coming from an environment where there was a lot of coarse behavior and still kind of carrying themselves in a very classy manner, which I know the word classy is quite you know, that's it's unclassy to say classy, but I can't think of a better word than that. And so a lot of times people do admire Librans for their elegance, and you can usually spot these people because there is a difference in their demeanor than most everyone else. They're just like a cut above in that sense. And I think that, because I said agreeable, I think what's so nice is that there are people who kind of rub us the wrong way. And, you know, I'm saying this on my own behalf as a Sagittarian, because I think Sagittarius and Aries tend to be quite trollish. And I just did Gemini, and I think even Gemini can really push people's buttons sometimes. Being provocative, wanting just to kind of entertain themselves by kind of setting somebody off, but in a verbal way, trying to make people think perhaps and have very interesting conversations, but there's always a little bit of an edge because it might be a controversial topic. And I don't apologize for that tendency within myself, but I know that Libra is a sign that if I were at a party with them, with a Libra individual, and I start saying something that is a little bit different than what people expect to hear, the Libra person is the one who gets kind of nervous, and they may jump in and try to change the subject or something like that. And it can get to be too much sometimes, because obviously we do have differences in life and we have to learn how to deal with that. And it you know, variety is a spice of life. But there's also the time for just pleasantries and not being too aggressive in your speech, and Libra has that down pat. Number 2, attractiveness. Now, somebody might say, well, that's kind of superficial. You're saying Librans tend to be gorgeous. Well, big deal. That doesn't make them good people. And I agree with you, that doesn't. But when I say that Librans are attractive, obviously not everybody born between September 22nd and October 22nd or whatever is going to just be drop dead gorgeous. But again, with the elegance, there's going to be an attractive quality somehow. They may be very well dressed, put together, polished, however you want to describe it. They tend to take care of their appearance. I mean, they tend to care about how they look. And yes, of course, this can get shallow, vain, there's always going to be a shadow side of this. But on the upside, these tend to be people who present themselves in a very nice way all the way around, whether it's their demeanor or their physical appearance. And I would dare say that more often than not, they will be physically attractive, because the signs of Libra and Taurus are both ruled by the planet Venus, the goddess of love and beauty. So they may have the raw material to be considered attractive. And then on top of that, they have an interest in maintaining that. Number 3, good taste. And this kind of goes along with that, the aesthetics of life. So understanding harmony in colors, this also goes along with the arts, which Venus represents, and really just immersing themselves in all kinds of art. So they may really think deeply about music. A lot of people who are Librans have a deep love for music, but it's not on the superficial level where they will just like whatever's in the top 40. They have a tendency to, dig deep and really explore the nuances of music and other art forms and enjoy it, enjoy going to a gallery. So there's that refinement for you, that sense of culture, the classiness that I was talking about. And just when good taste of, it's funny because good taste can be broadened. You can broaden that term to even refer to behavior, being, tasteful behavior, not wearing a belly shirt to a funeral, not, it's funny I said belly shirt because I mean, gosh, how long have belly shirts been out of fashion? Thank God. I thought they would never go, but I mean, even if I like, sometimes I just, scratch my head because they have these debates about whether or not you should wear certain clothes to certain functions. And they say, well, I can wear whatever I want, blah, blah, blah. And, I think the bottom line is understanding that you're living in a world with other people. And sometimes it's not about you, but you don't want to draw attention to yourself if it's somebody's special day, whether it's their wedding day or their funeral. It's funny that I mentioned those two things back to back. And sometimes it's okay to conform to more traditional expectations just in order to not draw attention to yourself. It's okay to do that. That doesn't mean that you're a mindless conformist. And I think like a Libra person takes into account other people's feelings, other people's position in a certain, they are like the natural mediator. So they tend to see other people's points of view. And I'm going to actually get to that in a minute because that was one of the points that I made too. But that's what, to me, good taste is that really engaging in art and culture in a deep way, but having an innate appreciation for music and colors just the aesthetics of life and being able to combine them in a tasteful way. Number 4, intelligent, and this is going to be true of all the air signs, but with Libra, there's that polish that combines with the ability to communicate very concisely and with wit. I mean, I could have put witty because Oscar Wilde was a Libran, and we are still saying a lot of his quotes and still going to see his plays, like The Importance of Being Earnest and Lady Windermere's Fan, reading them. So he hasn't disappeared from relevance in our in English literature, but also in our cultural representation or what have you. And the interesting thing about the intelligence of Libra is sometimes it gets, I think, I was going to say misestimated or something. I think that's a Yogi Berraism, but underestimated because of the attractive nature of a Libran person. So you can have a beautiful woman like Suzanne Summers. Now, of course, she's an older woman now, but she was considered a sex symbol in her day, in her heyday. And, you know, I just finished reading one of her autobiographies. She writes about her life from time to time. And I was just struck at how intelligent she is, but also, she's a good writer. I don't think she had a ghostwriter. I think she actually writes her own material. And she was considered like a bimbo on Three's Company. And yet she built a multi-million-dollar business. She did the Thigh Master and other things, and she was on Home Shopping Network. So she certainly has secured her place as a businesswoman, but in addition to that, is considered an intelligent person. She's not the airhead that she portrayed on a sitcom. Interesting. Airhead. So all air signs can play dumb because they have that airy quality. And I'm trying to think of and I'm not familiar with her personally, but George Burns' wife, Gracie Allen, was supposedly an Aquarius. So that was another example where she played dumb. Or even like Marilyn Monroe. She was a Gemini. And very well read, somebody who married a playwright, Arthur Miller, and people were scratching their heads, but she was an intellectual. However, she had a very breathy, airy voice, and people thought she was, less than intelligent because of it, and because she was a blonde. So you may be surprised at how intelligent the Libra person actually is. Number 5, agreeable. Now, I think, because I did add that to gracious and polite. So I'm going to I'm going to say, it's funny because I think I have actually added more than 7. So I'm going to just assume that we're going to leave that one alone because I've already talked about that. Number 6 is Peacemaker, and I would, add harmonious. So it's not only seeking peace, but it's somebody who, when I say seeking peace, they're looking to bring it to others, but also because they're not emotional signs, Libra, they tend to have the demeanor that is not full of drama. Now, don't get me wrong, because I've known some Librans in my day, and they do, I have noticed that they tend to attract drama, especially in personal relationships sometimes, until they meet the right partner, because I'm not going to get too far into it, but I explored this in the 7 Sketchy Things About Libra. So you can watch that one or listen to it. But basically, it's that idea that whenever you want something too badly, sometimes you create resistance to what is, and it actually exacerbates the problem. So if you're afraid of people arguing because it just like freaks you out, it makes you feel like, oh, this is terrible, it's not going to, trying to suppress it isn't the answer. But let's just put it this way. Librans are peace-loving. And this is something that is very important in our society, because we have a lot of people that are trying to start drama, and we need more peace in the world. Number 7 is impartial, and this is why Librans tend to gravitate towards being judges and working in the legal field. Even as lawyers, they may decide to be a defense lawyer because they feel like some people in our society don't have a voice. And so there's a sense of social justice and wanting there to be equality in the world, and that's a laudable quality, as long as it's not taken to the extreme, of course. But it really is nice that there are people out there who it does bother them that it seems like things are unfair in society. The fact that they're impartial means that Librans don't take sides usually in any dispute. They can see all sides, so they tend to be sympathetic to multiple points of view, and this is very helpful to help others who are very set in their ways about something to see that maybe they can become a little bit more expansive and understand where other people are coming from. Okay, I feel like I am not providing Libra with 7 qualities, because I did feel that I mentioned being agreeable twice. So I actually looked it up because I was trying to rack my brain about what else to say good about Libra. And I found one that I agree with. Good listener. In my experience, that's been the case, where Librans, maybe it's because they believe in fairness, that they tend to grant other people a sympathetic ear. And because they tend to be very intelligent and good conversationalists, you can really have a meaningful conversation with a Libra person, and you can really feel like you've been heard and understood. And I think that's a very valuable quality in a friend as well as a partner. Okay, well, I hope that you enjoyed this, whether it's Libra or whoever's listening for Libra. If you like this style of analysis, please check out my website, rainamoonastrology.com. The link is below this video. Take care. Bye.